thinking that you're going to meet somebody and they're going to be the same person over time is crazy. It's not realistic. Idealism versus realism. That's why I always try to say to people, like, realistically, yeah, sure, that's just how a person is. Idealistically, yeah, you guys are gonna get a white picket fence and he's gonna love you and never see another woman and not be attracted to A, B, and C. Like, but that's not reality. So
I think that, like, my version personally of 80-20, let's just say, is a entirety or totality thing of the relationship. Because I could give you 100%. I could be that 100 for 12 months. Shit, I might be 50 the next 12 months. But then I might be 80 by the third year. And if I look at the relationship from a total of a 5 or 10 year span, it's like, hey, at this point, I was really strong and we were really much in alignment and agreement. We didn't really have any issues. I was that 100% person that you were wanting. The year after that, I might have slacked off, whatever have you.
Super sorry. If you want a 50%.
Yeah, you know.
Super sorry.
Maybe, right? So maybe I was super sorry. I wasn't focused. I wasn't as committed or whatever the case may be. But if I look at something as a whole and say, okay, in 10 years, if I average every year out, I average to 80. But I won't be 80 this whole time.
We all have like our like
ups and downs.
Yeah, you have your ups and downs like in a relationship, but you as a person have your ups and downs. It's just like you might get stuck in a rut, or you might go through a bout of depression, or you know, something traumatic could happen. You lose a parent. Like you as a person, you're gonna fluctuate, you know. So I feel like if you just keep a batting average, you know, at around a certain number.
65.
Nah, you gotta go higher. You gotta be 80.
But think about it. Think about the bar you're setting, saying that you were 100% for 12 months. So she's looking at you as this warrior, and then if something happens to you, you're not that warrior anymore. But you did that to yourself, trying to just overcompensate. I think that's overcompensation, 100%. It's just
maybe not.
too much.
Sometimes
He said his first year.
Sometimes you clicking on all cylinders. You know, you have moments, and I mean, I look at everything like a sports game, right? You have moments where you're going to have that game where you can't miss a shot.
12 months is a year. That's 100%.
Well, I'm saying, let's say you have one great season, right? Then you have one off season.
Defeated.
Then you have your sophomore slump. That's what they call it.
Okay.
It doesn't mean you're a terrible player. It just means you had a bad season. And then maybe the next year you have to go back. You have to go get coaching. You have to go do therapy. You might have to do whatever you have to do. Then you get back to where you were. So my thing is, I would prefer, my only speaking for myself, I would prefer a high average over that consistency, because I don't believe it's going to last. I mean, they say consistency is the hardest thing to do as a person. So to be consistently 80, for me, I personally believe you're chipping away at 80 for you. Because those times where you're up, those times where you're down and you're still being 80 for me, I know you must be really down, because you really need to attend to yourself. You know, and I think that's why there's a fluctuation, because at some point in time in your relationship, and I'm not talking about just 1 year or 2 year relationship, I'm talking about like 4, 5, 10, 15 years. People go through ups and downs, and they got to choose themselves at some point. At some point, they got to choose themselves.
So why not come into that realistically, not 65. Let's say 70%.
That's cool.
So then you can see me jump up 20% to a 90. You can see me go 20% down to a 50. And you can recognize that, as opposed to me keeping up 100%, right? And then me telling you, hey, it was an off year.
But but I think I think he's saying 100% in that first year, because you said this earlier. You have someone's avatar. You don't necessarily get like the fullness of a person. One, because they're probably not even going to let you in close enough to understand them on a certain level. So it's probably easier to be 100%. You know, and it's easier to be something that you're not. Yeah, that first year.
I don't think anyone should be starting off at 100%.
That's I don't.
It's easier. You know what?
Why is it easier though?
Because so the key word that I was trying to hone in on was alignment. See, when I'm seeking for somebody and they're seeking for somebody, at that present time, we both have whatever we are attached to in terms of desires and preferences, and they're aligning at that time. Now, in 3 years from now, my desires and preferences could change. My personality can change. Her personality can change. So we're just not aligned. It's not that I'm really 80% because I'm the bad person. I'm 80% for her new version.
Yes.
Or she's 60% for my new version. Right? So we're never going to stay the same. So like when it's it's easier when I can meet you and we can align right then and there. But as we both grow, we start to go in different directions. You might like doing this. I don't want to go to the opera. Opera is now something that you now love. Now, it took me a year or two to accept opera, right? But in that present time, I was at 60% because we were arguing about going to opera. And you felt like I didn't care about you.
Oh, but the first year of the 100%, were you going to the opera?
It never existed. It wasn't a desire.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like we like, and I caught myself doing this too. It's like I get into a relationship with this person and I hold them to who they were. I met them 4 years ago.
They shouldn't be the same.
And they shouldn't be the same. They're not going to be the same. So, okay, we might have some misalignment here. This version of you is not clicking with this version of me. So I might say you're 50, but really you are still the same person. It's just that my next version, I hope, can come to more so a closer alignment. So now that you're back at that 80 or 70 mark.
And that takes work.
And time.
It takes work, it takes time, and it takes a lot of self-awareness.
Compromise.
Yeah, it does. Because if you just be like, well, what is me?
You'd be like, what? See, that's when I start exiting.
Right, like you're not going to get nowhere.
Listen, if anybody's listening, they think that a relationship or a marriage, specifically a marriage, is going to be a cakewalk, you're in for a rude awakening.
Don't do it.
Because it never will be.
Oh my God, don't say that.
I'm not saying don't do it, but like it
Exactly.
ain't. It's not
Rome.
It's not a cakewalk.
Even if you have everything that you want, at some point you're going to want something else.
Yeah.
You're a human being. You know what I'm
You
saying?
got to figure out, like you have to be committed to that marriage, and you have to figure out how to stay in that marriage. And again, this goes back to what?
Sorry, I'm just looking at Rome's.
Oh, it goes back to what you were saying about like adjusting to the person that your partner evolves into. Because I mean, real talk, you shouldn't be the same 5 years later. And if you are, it's problematic.
For real.
Is this the bad? I'm sorry. I'm not married. And this is the part that kills me. Is the for better or for worse? And sickness and health, right? So sickness and health is like, okay, you get sick. That covers that. For
You
better or
lose a
for
limb.
worse, the worst could be that this person becomes a terrible, abusive person.
Well, I think that there are exclusions. Someone's abusive to you, then you handle that.
Okay.
However, you see fit. Some people that's leaving, for other people that's calling.
Not physically abusive. I'm just saying.
It also says till death do us part.
Say what?
Just kidding.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that's an anomaly. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, unless it's a bunch of abusive people around here. I don't know. But I think if someone's doing that and you value yourself, then you're going to see about that the best way that suits you, whether that's leaving or other stuff, you know.
But when you get married, isn't it supposed to be like you're not supposed to get divorced because you took a vow under God?
We live in America.
No. I understand. This is the thing. So if you start all this and you're saying, listen,
It got to be in the Bible somewhere where it say don't beat nobody or something.
no, I'm not even saying
Right?
beat. No, please don't beat people. I say this. It should just be updated. This whole marriage thing should be updated, and you should figure out what works for
Talking about the
you.
Bible.